Usually what makes us anxious when it comes to our personal finances or our money is not that things are bad, it's that we don't really know how well we are doing. So what we will be doing today is setting a starting point so that you know exactly where you are, how well you are doing, and what you need to be able to achieve your financial goals. Hello everyone, my name is Modibre, and today we'll be taking a look at your net worth. Quickly before we start, everything we cover is for education only, and it shouldn't be taken as financial advice. If you do need financial advice, please contact a licensed professional. Now, yesterday we defined what truly mattered to you and chose where you wanted to go. You narrowed it down to your primary financial focus for the next 12 months. But you can't know how close you are to achieving your goals or even what you need to close the gap if you don't know where you are starting from. Usually what makes us anxious when it comes to our personal finances or our money is not that things are bad, it's that we don't have clarity. We don't really know how well we are doing. So what we will be doing today is setting a starting point so that you know exactly where you are and what you need to be able to achieve your financial goals. It's not about judging yourself. It's about visibility. You are not comparing yourself with anyone. We all have different objectives. What you are comparing yourself with is your destination or your ambition. So what we'll be doing together today is walking through the MoneyGist net worth calculator. I'll link the template in the video description below, but feel free to use any Excel document really, because it's just going to be a bunch of calculations, but you should go over the same broad categories that we'll go over now. Also, before we start, you don't have to finish it in one sitting. If you can, good. But what you can do for now is put in broad estimates and then update it later with the actual details, because we're going to be asking some questions that might need you to do a bit of digging through your records. Considering people have traveled from all over the world to UK, some people haven't finished unpacking. So you may need to find some records, but for now, put in rough estimates and then we'll see where we are. Now let me share my screen. So let's start with your assets. That includes everything you own that has material value, both in the UK and back wherever home is. So that will include things like cash in your bank accounts. Some of us have multiple bank accounts, even in UK and back home. It will include your shares or any other investments, paper assets that you may have, money market funds or any other investments in crypto, FX, property, land, anything you have that is of material value, not emotional value. It will include your pensions as well. Some of us have pensions back home, some of us have pensions here. Most of us should have pensions here. Business interests, write everything down. One thing that you will see in the template is this is classified according to location. So you can change the location. So write it all down. Capture it in that spreadsheet. The way we've done it in the template is we have the assets, the type of asset it is, if it's property, pensions. You can add more or just edit the template. It's a simple table. And then the value here, I just added a few other calculations just to indicate if it has grown over time or not. You may not have all this information. It doesn't matter. What matters is the current value. What do you think it's worth today? So if you only know how much it's worth today, you should put it there. If it's property that you bought at a particular time and you don't know how much it is today, it's fine. Put the value when you bought it. So just put that value, have it all there. The other thing that is very important is location. In case you're not Nigerian, you can change the location here. There's a drop down here that you can just select your location, basically. But it's helpful, right, to know where different assets or different items are sitting. If it's seated in Nigeria, if it's seated in the UK, if it is a short-term asset like mutual funds or maybe bonds, or if it's something long-term like your pensions. But what's more important is your location. For many of us, our assets are split across the UK and our home country. So in the templates, you see separate sections for the UK and for, well, in this case, we put Nigeria, but you can change it. Go through every category. If you're not sure of the exact number, put an estimate for now. You can always update it later on. Pause the video if you need to and do this exercise. So that was the first step, your assets. The second step is basically your liabilities. In this case, we'll be looking at anything that you owe. That's a simpler way to look at it for this self-assessment. So list out any liabilities, any debts, any obligations, like you have to fixed obligations. Whether it's in Nigeria, whether it's in the UK, list it out, write it down, document it in your spreadsheet. It could include things like overdrafts. It could include things like student loans. It could include credit card debts that you haven't paid. It could include mortgages. It could include informal family loans. Maybe someone borrowed you money when you were coming here. It could include ajo, which is kind of like small society loans. I think some people call it esusu, but just write it down. Write down everything that you owe. Because when we talk about a net worth, we're looking at the difference between what you own and what you owe. Now, pause the video if you need to and write it down. The more detailed you are, the clearer the picture you'll get. Now, when you have your assets, you have your liabilities in that spreadsheet, you need to basically sum up the two. So you should have a subtotal for your assets and a subtotal for your liabilities. The way we set it up in the template, we have those subtotals by country. So you have the subtotals for your assets in Nigeria, your assets in the UK, your liabilities in Nigeria, and your liabilities in the UK. It's helpful to know where those assets sit because you're now a citizen of the world. For a lot of us, our financial assets and liabilities and obligations sit across multiple countries. So it's helpful to know where these things sit. Once you have those subtotals, you basically need to sum up all the assets, both the ones back home and the ones here. For you to sum up the ones back home, you need to convert them into a consistent currency. So what I usually do is convert everything to pounds, since we're currently in the UK. Sum it up. So I have my total assets in pounds, total liabilities in pounds. The difference is your net worth. That's your net financial worth globally. Now, this is just your baseline. It's your starting point. It's not your final form. You're still evolving. This is not a verdict on your diligence or your intelligence or your success. It's simply information. And remember, knowledge is power. And by the time we're done with this program, you will know how to get to where you want to go. The goal for today is awareness. You need to know exactly where you are for you to get to where you want to go. The good thing now is by the time you're done with this exercise, you have something that you can actually measure and track as time goes on. Personal story, I started doing this when I had like 2 shares. That was all the assets I had then. But I had it in this Excel file and I've been updating that Excel file over a decade now. So you can track this and it will grow over time. It doesn't matter if you only have one asset to your name. It's your starting point. So from now on, every savings decision, every investment decision, every budget that you make, you know how it affects your net worth. You can actually add it, introduce a line item or update a line item, and you see how your net worth changes. Now, this is not a one-off exercise. Like we said, this is your starting point. It's something you will track as time goes on. But you don't need to update it every week. It's not a monthly assignment. Your net worth, it will evolve over time, but it doesn't matter if it goes up or down on a monthly basis. This is something I probably would check maybe once a quarter or twice a year. For some people, they would like to do this kind of exercise maybe at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, maybe once a year, or you do it every quarter. If there are certain things that you're actively doing and you want to see how it's taking shape, it's up to you. But it's something that you can track over time and you will find helpful. What you can do though is put this in your calendar. The good thing is that 12-month financial goal that you set, now you have something to measure it against, and you can see the impact of that goal on your net worth and how your net worth is evolving as you approach that goal. So that's it for today. If you're able to complete roughly 70% of what we talked about, that's good enough. It's a start. You don't have to get it perfect in one sitting. It takes time. And like I said, sometimes some of us have to dig up some information. But do it today. Start today. Progress beats perfection. Don't wait until you have all your files with you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. That's it for day 2. So yesterday we set the direction. Today we set the starting point. Now the journey begins. Now you have your own personal balance sheet. Tomorrow we'll start to build the structure for your monthly cash flow, so you can start to redirect your funds towards your goals and towards the life that you want to live.